friends. We're going to talk today about twin flames. It's as the universe is conspiring to put us all into our most aligned life. This is something that we're going to have to talk about more and more. A lot of people have never heard of this before or aren't aware of it, but the ones who are aware of it are seriously aware of it. And then I think there's a contingent of people that kind of it's a fantastic idea that they want to have happen to them. I would say if you have not met your twin flame, let it go, because it's not on your path right now for some reason, and you don't need to worry about it or think about it or try to call it in. You just need to live your life, and what's meant for you will be for you. I'm not 100% certain that everyone has a twin flame, although it is seeming more and more like they do. And probably just a lot of people haven't met theirs yet. I have a twin flame, and I don't actually like the term twin flame. It's a little too, the word flame, I think, denotes like a very romantic sexual relationship, and it can be for sure 100%. But that's not the point of it. And I think that word, the term flame, has in our common culture taken on a meaning that's not helpful in this scenario. So I prefer to call it twin souls. That's really more accurate. And while flame is important, and there's some spiritual context around what a flame is, it's not important for us to always refer to it that way. So I'm going to call it a twin soul. And so here's what it is. So I think we're going to break this talk into 3 sections. Hopefully we don't have to, my recorder will run out and I'll have to restart the video and I'll edit it together. So when you see breaks, it's just because we ran out of time. We're going to break it into 3 sections. The first section is, what is a twin flame? The second section is, what are some of the things that can happen around meeting your twin soul? And then the third section is some of the issues that can come up that we need to work through. So let's start from that approach. So first of all, what is it? It is just like we have babies, right? We have babies, and sometimes we have twins, and sometimes we have single babies. And when we have twins, it's 2 babies that have the exact identical DNA. A twin soul is a soul born into 2 incarnations at the same time. So 2 people on the planet who are not twins, who are not related to each other, but they have the same soul identity. So you have physical twins where you have the same physical DNA and they're related. And you have soul twins where they are not related, but they have the same soul DNA, if you want to think of it that way. So it's like if you had a past life incarnation and you went back in time and met your past life incarnation. Only what's happening is that you're both incarnated in this lifetime at the same time. And so if you can imagine how complicated and confusing that can be when you meet yourself, your own soul, your I am, in another person, your soul has immediate vibration and recognition with itself, and yet it's your mind kind of goes berserk, because if you think about the mind and the ego voice that we have constantly throwing us some thoughts, the purpose of our mind and our thoughts is to keep us in this virtual reality and not let us become aware of our spiritual origin, right? So we're all spiritual beings having an earthly experience, and the mind and the ego are part of our physical body in order to keep us in the earthly experience. And so anytime something So anytime something happens that can take us out of this reality, our mind throws in a thought that can logically explain what's happening from a three-dimensional reality perspective. So you see a ghost out of the corner of your eye, something moves in the room, and you think, oh my God, was that a ghost? And your mind immediately says, no, it was just a shadow on the wall, right? So your mind is constantly throwing you, no, stay in this reality. There's no spiritual realm. And so what happens when you meet your twin soul in another person, you have this immediate vibration of like, that's my person, or that's me, or what the fuck is this? And you might even take a step back. Somebody explained it to me like it grabbed her and she had to take a step back. And for me, it was just like, does anyone else in the room notice that like we're the same? I'm having an experience here, but I'm not speaking it out loud. I'm just freaking out in my head. And so my mind said, you're crazy and no one else is noticing, and that person's not even noticing, and you're crazy. And that's what my mind told me. So when you have this experience, it's wild. You feel it immediately. There's soul recognition. The eyes are the windows to the universe. And so when you look into that person's eyes, you're looking in your own eyes. You're seeing your own soul. And it creates this crazy, I kind of liken it to when there's mirrors, like in a dressing room at a department store, when there's mirrors all around and you can actually look in one mirror and see your reflection reflected back like over and over again, like in forever. That's kind of the feeling I had when I met myself in another soul. So that's what twin souls are. Twin souls are you in another body and your mind telling you, run. It's not true, because your mind doesn't want you to know that you are incarnated in another body right now, because your mind is trying to keep the virtual reality the only thing you're aware of. So that's what a twin soul is. Very simple. Your soul having 2 lifetimes because you're an overachiever, and having just one life that would, allow you to be in this reality for a good long time. But if you wanted to wake up in this reality, like how people like to try to lucid dream, where you can wake up in your dream and be in it while you're conscious. Some of us are kind of having an experience in this lifetime where we're conscious and awakened to our spiritual origins while we're still here in this reality. So it's like a giant lucid dream for us. And meeting yourself in another body can catapult you into a lucid dream version of this 3-dimensional reality. And when that happens, we call it like you're ascended, or you're aware of the spiritual realm. So you're like in 5D, but you're also living in 3D. Hopefully that's kind of a helpful explanation. The other component of twin flames that I really wanted to talk about is some of like what happens when you meet yourself in another body. Immediately you think it's romantic because there's that attraction feeling. It can be very sexual because in the current paradigm, we have a very distorted understanding of what sex is. And so we sense it as a sexual attraction, but without the understanding of what that is, we feel like it's supposed to be a romantic relationship. What we're sensing is the life force energy that comes up through us, certainly in a sexual act that's shared and reciprocated. That life force energy that women can draw up easily through the womb, that is used to create life into a baby. So when you get into resonance with your self, your soul, it becomes a channel for that kind of energy. So it can really draw the life force energy up into between the two of you, and And that can be very confusing, as you can imagine, because whoop, you meet this person, resonance, you don't know what's happening. Oh, and sexual energy is coming through the both of you. And maybe you're, like you're not in a relationship, you don't want to be in a relationship, you haven't even thought about being in a relationship, you just met this person, and all of a sudden there's this massive sexual energy coming through. And in today's paradigm, we think of sexual energy as something very different than a spiritual experience. So that can happen. That can be kind of confusing. So we can launch into trying to have a relationship with this person, which it's an overwhelming experience. And so both people could take the experience differently. And then what happens is there's like this polarity that begins to happen. So at first it could seem all magical and great and we're best friends and we get each other and we read each other's minds. And then there's this like push-pull that starts to happen, like a battery, like magnets, right? So when one person comes towards the other person, it like makes the other person pull away and like this. And we can't really stay in this equal vibration unless we're both being super authentic, because as soon as one person's being fake, it goes like that. Or as soon as this person's being fake, it goes like that. So it's like this dance of pushing and pulling and not being able to speak to the other one and speaking to the other one. And then what happens is because you're the same soul, and usually you're incarnated with a predominant female or masculine gender. Not necessarily gender, like it can be two women, but one's more masculine, one's more feminine. Or it can be two men, and one's more masculine, one's more feminine. Or it can be a masculine male and a feminine female. It doesn't matter what your outward expression is of your gender. But what I have learned is that my soul's divine feminine is stronger in me expressed as a woman, and my soul's divine masculine is stronger in my twin soul expressed as a male. And so what happens is, because you've met that person, you now have a face for your own internal divine masculine. So when I'm in meditation and I'm tuning into my own whole self, which is both masculine and feminine, I frequently see his face in my mind, and that freaks me out. And it took a while for me to understand what was happening. It's not that you're obsessively thinking about him, you are. But what's happening is you're tuned into your own divine counterpart, your own divine masculine, and so that brings him in, and then your mind starts telling you like, oh, think about him. The separate person, because your mind's trying to convince you that he's separate from you and not part of you. And so it's this head game, and you have these incessant thoughts that come in that are almost not like your own thoughts, and you feel like you're crazy. And when you don't recognize that it's you tuning into you, it's just that now you've attached a face to your own self that's not your face. You have two faces now. You think this person is like either psychically putting thoughts in your head or psychically attacking you, or that you're going crazy obsessing about this person who's not even interested in you, right? So there's a lot to unpack, and a lot of people think they're going crazy, and it can really send their whole life into turmoil because you can't stop thinking about this other person, and your life can go to hell in a handbasket. Like you can just, like, nothing else works. And so it's so what happens is there's these stages that when you meet your twin, there's what they call bubble love stage. Then there's this push and pull stage. And then there can be running, what appears to be running and chasing, because you're kind of magnetically push and pulling each other. And then there can be what they call the dark night of the soul. And then there can be this period where you both try to just like run away from each other, and it's called separation. And even in separation, there can be And even in separation, there can be like a pining towards one or the other. The overarching thing here to know and to remember is that because it's you, there is on some unconscious level, or conscious level even, unconditional love for this person, no matter where you're at in your mind game about the meeting, right? So no matter what your mind is telling you, if you tune into your heart space, there is unconditional love there for this person. And you could hate them because they have so this is the other part of it. Okay, so when you meet your own soul, they mirror you. They're not a copy of you. You're not the same copy. You're mirrors of each other. So, and you see it in the astrology. So frequently it'll be like, your moon sign is their rising sign, and your rising sign is their moon sign, and your sun sign is their moon sign. And you're going to see a resonance in the astrology. And I know there's some astrologers who've tried to like look at a bunch of twin flames birth charts, and they've found things that they're identifying as these are big twin flame symbols, and I find them to not be very accurate. I think a lot of people are sending in their birth charts thinking that they're twin flames when really they're not twin flames. So so that's another thing to unpack. Being a twin soul is a very specific thing, and it's not to be confused with a soulmate, a karmic lover, a boyfriend that you just really like a lot. It's a very different thing. So anyways, so you're gonna mirror each other. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna, whatever you like or don't like, you're gonna see it in them, and they're gonna trigger you. So they're gonna do something that you're just gonna be so like, ugh, hate that person, but you're hating yourself. And you're gonna think that you don't do that, just they're doing that. They're a narcissist. Trust me, whatever you are seeing and whatever this person is triggering in you, triggers, no matter who's doing it to you, whether it's your twin soul or anyone else, your children trigger you. When you get triggered, that is the universe telling you, oh, there's a wound for you to heal in there. So when you meet your twin soul, there can be a lot of big triggers. Best thing to do is to journal all the triggers. Do not obsess about hating this other person, because ultimately, if you hate them, you hate yourself. They are your soul. So that's just something to be aware of. So you could end up with being triggered. You could end up running away from this person. You could end up thinking you're going crazy. You could end up in a dark night of the soul. But truthfully, if you go into your heart space, which you're forced to do because nothing else will work, you can medicate, you can do anything in the world, and you're going to be forced into your heart space. And when you get into your heart space, you will recognize that there is unconditional love. You will recognize that this person is your exact same vibration, that there is nothing they could really do that would make you not love them, even though they make you crazy. And also you would, hopefully over time, you'll recognize that they are you in a way. Sure, they have their own separate life and they're doing their own thing because it's a separate incarnation of you. I mean, people that say, I wish I could clone myself, should just watch their words. Because it's a complicated situation. They have their own life in their own mind telling them what they need to accomplish, and you have yours, but yeah, it's the same soul. So you're sharing thoughts, you're in each other's dreams. Frequently I find my twin soul's mother in my dreams, and that's because mother in a dream interpretation is your intuition. So it's really my soul's intuition. It's like my higher self. So my mother would be my intuition, my higher self, and my twin soul is my divine masculine, and then the intuition that comes with him. So I have both of our moms always in my dreams. Sometimes his mom's in my dream and he's not, and so it's our higher selves kind of communicating to us in the dream world. anyways, so it's a very complex situation. There's a lot that comes with it. It can take a really long time to unpack. And ultimately, if we're in our perfect, true alignment, doing all of our self-work, healing all of the wounds that get triggered, and we're ascending into like a bigger awareness into the fifth dimension or higher, and not just staying in this 3D matrix kind of reality, ultimately we should be able to be in the same space with that person without having all of these issues, right? So we're having all of the issues because we're out of alignment. And the more we do our own self-work and the more we work on ourselves, the more in alignment we become. And when we're in alignment, we can come right together because we're going to just mirror perfect harmony to each other. So if you have a twin flame person or a twin soul person that you have met and you have all kinds of chaos and turmoil going on in your life, stop projecting out, stop blaming out, stop hating out, and just turn in on yourself and do your self-work and know that that scenario is showing you you have self-work to do. And all you can do is your self-work, and all you can do is use the awareness to work on yourself, to know where you have wounds. You really have to integrate your heart. You almost have like two hearts have to be integrated energetically. All of your chakras. I've been having a lot of throat chakra work since I've been doing all these readings. I recently did a lot of heart integration work. So there's a lot of healing opportunity and work that comes out of meeting your twin soul. So I hope this has been helpful. I do have, I've researched, I've read a lot. There's a few twin soul coaches that I would recommend. I have one that I recommend for lesbian or gay couples, and I have one that I recommend for anyone else. It could be gay couples too, but there's one couple that's really great that I think would resonate more with people who are not in a heterosexual relationship. So hit me up, message me if you want some more information, if you're struggling or need help with this. I also work with this in my own practice, but I am not a specifically twin flame union coach yet because I have not gotten myself into 100% alignment yet. I still am experiencing a little bit of push-pull energy with my other incarnation. So there you go, truth. That is all I have to share today on this topic. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please put some comments, message me if you want to engage more on this conversation. Let me know, and we will bring it again and again. It's a very deep place to be. I think going into the future, as people are being forced into alignment and higher awareness, especially with the astrology we have going on this year, we're going to see relationships that are not in alignment falling away to allow space. We're going to see our own self-work coming in a big way, and more of these kind of really challenging relationships come in line. And I really think this is our future, is to figure this out. It's like a blueprint for a new kind of relationship going forward into the future. So we can talk more about that. All right, friends, thank you so much.